As Trump's diplomatic push with Iran appears to be unraveling, the US president is reportedly fuming at Netanyahu. What the are you doing? Trump reportedly goes ballistic as frustration with Netanyahu spills into the open. The Israeli Prime Minister was reportedly forced to call off planned Beirut strikes after a sharp slap on the wrist from Trump. As Iran refuses to budge on a deal, Washington is now said to be blaming Israel's Lebanon operation for complicating diplomacy. With Israel and Hezbollah continuing to trade blows across the border, US President Donald Trump is reportedly fuming behind the scenes. Donald Trump and his ally Benjamin Netanyahu reportedly held a heated conversation on June 1st as tensions escalated. The call allegedly deteriorated to the point where Trump called Netanyahu crazy, according to an Axios report. The expletive-filled outburst reportedly reflected Trump's growing frustration with Israel's actions in the region. Iran had allegedly threatened to walk away from negotiations with Washington, citing Israel's strikes in Lebanon. Trump also reportedly accused Netanyahu of showing ingratitude and demanded an immediate halt to Israeli airstrikes. The US president allegedly warned Netanyahu that threats to bomb Beirut could leave Israel increasingly isolated worldwide. Trump reportedly reminded the Israeli premier that he had stood by him during his corruption trial troubles. Trump said, and I quote, "What are you doing? You're crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving you. Everybody hates you now. Everybody hates Israel because of this." Trump also allegedly argued that Israel was responding to Hezbollah attacks in a disproportionate manner. The US president's reported rant comes as Israel expands military operations deeper into southern Lebanon. The Trump administration is also said to be concerned about the rising civilian death toll in Lebanon, Axios reported. A US official told Axios that Trump effectively steamrolled Netanyahu during the June 1st conversation. Following Trump's rebuke, Israel reportedly pledged to stop striking Hezbollah-linked targets inside Beirut. However, after the phone call, Netanyahu posted on X that Israel's position remains the same. Tension stayed elevated along the Israel-Lebanon frontier as Netanyahu reportedly ordered additional military strikes.
Together with the Minister of Defense, I instructed the IDF to attack terror targets in Beirut. There will be no situation where Hezbollah attacks our cities and citizens, and its terror headquarters in Beirut, in the Dahia suburb, remain out of bounds. We continue to deepen our activity on the ground in southern Lebanon, eliminating Hezbollah strongholds. Hezbollah is on the run. We are determined to restore security to the residents of the north, just as we did to the residents of the south.
Israel's policy in Lebanon is clear. The IDF maneuvered and established territory up to the Nonnet Line, the Yellow Line, to distance daily raids and direct fire on Israeli settlements, based on the fundamental principle that residents do not leave the north. Subsequently, IDF forces maneuvered and expanded the area up to the Beaufort Fortress, which became a dominant position and part of the security zone, whose total area is about 600 square kilometers. For comparison, the entire area of Gaza is 365 square kilometers. The role of the security zone is to protect Israeli settlements and IDF forces. There are no residents in this area. It is only populated by IDF, and it operates to thwart terrorists, weapons, and the terror infrastructures below and above ground, including security in all Lebanese contact villages that served as terror outposts for all intents and purposes, and their destruction as part of Operation Silver Net will be completed soon. The IDF is conducting aerial attacks on Hezbollah's launch targets from the south and north of the Litani, working to thwart targets, Hezbollah targets, and any threat throughout Lebanon, and is considering additional maneuvers as needed. Following the US request, the IDF refrained until yesterday from intense attacks in Beirut, except for targeted eliminations, due to US contacts for an agreement with Iran. Yesterday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and I led a move together with the IDF, aimed at creating an equation that says that the law of Dahir in Beirut is like the law of the northern settlements in Israel. And if Israeli settlements continue to be attacked, we will attack most of the Shiite Dahir in Beirut, which is Hezbollah's stronghold. There will no longer be a situation of quiet in Beirut and attacked Israeli settlements. In this arena, the Prime Minister and I published several announcements that conveyed the principle and its conditions. And the IDF spokesperson also published an evacuation notice to the residents of Dahia ahead of an attack with a continuation of fire on Israeli settlements. The immediate result was the evacuation of hundreds of thousands of residents from most of Dahia, 600,000 by yesterday evening. It may still be ongoing. 600,000 out of 950,000 Dahia residents were evacuated by yesterday, creating heavy pressure on Hezbollah and the Lebanese government. This principle was also clarified to the American administration before the move was executed, that we will not tolerate fire on Israeli settlements and will act accordingly, and so it was also in Prime Minister Netanyahu's call yesterday with the US President. The United States endorsed this principle, which is a change from what was, and announced it to the Lebanese government and all relevant parties. The Israeli settlements, against Beirut. There will be no quiet here. There will be no quiet there. Within Lebanon, there is no ceasefire, and the IDF continues operations against Hezbollah, with the ultimate goal, long-term, of dismantling Hezbollah of its weapons, and the immediate goal, related to the purpose of the operation in Lebanon, is the disarmament of the entire Litani area beyond the Yellow Line currently controlled by the IDF and up to the Litani Line. Disarmament from Hezbollah militants' weapons with Israeli security control. This is the goal, and we are working to advance it with all the means I mentioned here. The test for the defense policy for the settlements will be simple and will become clear in the coming days. If the fire on the settlements stops or if there is fire on the settlements and we attack in Dahia in Beirut, this equation will be realized. There will be no situation for us of fire on our settlements without responding forcefully against most of Dahia in Beirut while evacuating its residents, as we have done in the past. Those who bring all these great achievements are the IDF commanders and their heroic soldiers in regular and reserve duty, who fight bravely with great commitment for the security of the northern residents. And of course, the northern residents who show courage and resilience in difficult circumstances to allow the IDF to complete its missions for their defense. The IDF protects the northern residents and pays a heavy price. Soldiers are killed and injured during their missions, and the pain is great. I embrace the bereaved families and wish a speedy recovery to the wounded. We are challenged by the fiber drones that are below the technological thwarting threshold and exact a heavy price, and we operate at all levels, both strategically and tactically, and some of you, I assume, are also involved in this issue. With all means to provide solutions and responses to this issue, Israel is determined not to return to the situation before October 7th as part of the new security policy. The IDF is present and interposes between jihadist enemies and the borders and settlements in Lebanon, Syria, Gaza, and wherever it is needed, and operates proactively to remove threats in Iran, Yemen, and everywhere. Hezbollah also showed no signs of backing down, launching 41 retaliatory strikes within a 24-hour period. Israeli media reported more than 70 rocket and missile sirens in the north as Hezbollah attacks hit what they described as northern occupied areas near the border. According to these reports, Hezbollah missiles targeted the central Galilee region as well as the Safed and northern Tiberias districts, extending the threat deeper into northern Israel. Hezbollah stated that explosive devices damaged 2 Israeli armored vehicles near the town of Hadassah, suggesting that ground units operating close to the border came under effective attack. The group's fighters claimed that this roadside attack forced Israel to halt an attempted ground push in the Hadassah area, temporarily disrupting the advance of Israeli troops. Hezbollah also said that its guided missiles destroyed a Merkava main battle tank in the Balu sector, highlighting its ongoing use of precision anti-armor weapons against Israeli forces. In addition, so-called Ababil suicide drones were reported to have struck more Israeli armored vehicles, indicating a combined use of drones and explosives to wear down Israel's ground assets. A Lebanese official said that Hezbollah rejects any ceasefire proposal that does not contain clear, written Israeli commitments, arguing that vague promises are no longer acceptable. Hezbollah lawmaker Hassan Fadler demanded a full ceasefire on land, in the air, and at sea before further negotiations, insisting that all domains of Israeli military action must be covered. Fadler also said that Israeli troops must withdraw from contested areas before displaced residents are allowed to return, linking humanitarian relief directly to military pullbacks. He insisted that any agreement must stop the demolition and destruction of homes across southern Lebanon, framing the protection of civilian property as a core condition of a deal. Fadler further stated that Iranian pressure on Israel and the United States helped shift events after the recent threats over Beirut, claiming Tehran's stance played a key role in their escalation. Even as Trump called for restraint, Iran raised the stakes with a direct warning aimed at Israel. The warning was addressed to residents of northern Israel as concerns grew over possible regional escalation. Iran's Qatar Al-Anbiya headquarters warned Israelis to leave northern areas if Beirut is targeted by Israeli strikes. Ali Abdullahi said, and I quote, "Given Israel's repeated violations of the ceasefire, if this threat is carried out, We warn residents of northern areas and military settlements in Israel to leave the area if they do not want to be harmed." Unquote. The warning came after Israeli officials threatened military action against Beirut and its southern suburbs. Iran cautioned that any expansion of Israeli operations in Lebanon could lead to a much wider conflict.